Hello and welcome to Fax Chat, short for Faculty Chat, with the faculty of Srishti Manipal Institute of Art, Design and Technology in Bangalore. Today we have with us VV, Vishwesh Vishwanathan. Vishwesh, share with us what you do at SMI.
Okay, so my practice and my academic practice at Srishti focuses mainly on public spaces. And I look at it through different perspectives, and this comes from my background as an architect, an urban designer, and a planner, but also the nature of work that I did before coming into Srishti for around a decade and a half, that looked at policy, design guidelines, design projects, and also, looked at, say, related fields like interior design, affordable housing, graphic design, and so on. Yeah.
So in terms of, our undergrad courses are better known and people know about them. They don't know that much about our postgraduate courses. Can you share with the audience some of the exciting things that we are doing with our postgrad courses and the sort of things that students can expect if they were to come and sign up?
So I am the head of studies for the public space design program at SMI at the postgraduate level. The pedagogy for the course is rooted in what we call place-based learning, and that means that you engage with real locations, communities, and the work that you do sort of emerges from the circumstances of those particular places and communities. And one of the key aspects is that we don't root our work, in terms of, say, the conventional architecture and spatial design practice. The nature of work that is done is far more responsive to what is the situation on ground.
You've done your postgraduate studies in Cornell,
Yes.
come back from there. You have worked in many different places. What would you say is unique to the learning and facilitating of learning at Srishti? What makes us stand out, if we do stand out at all?
I think one of the key things is that when you do learn at Srishti, you have the freedom to sort of approach, an exercise or a studio without a preconceived notion. And that creates an opportunity to sort of, address it in very many different ways. And that's very important because the typical logic is that you have to step into the field, you have to find out about a problem that exists there and solve it. I think the way we sort of approach it, allows us to question whether the problem is something, first of all, in our minds or real, and secondly, does it need to really be solved, or are there other ways of sort of addressing it or living with it? So I think that is something which is very special about learning at Srishti. You're not into this whole going there and working within the rigid framework of a discipline and solving a problem according to that given framework. So that's, yeah.
Since you're talking about the postgraduate courses, one of the things that we get asked a lot is, okay, I do this course, and what is the world that opens up to me after I sign up for this course or after I complete this course? What are the different possibilities for somebody who does an MA in public space design?
So for somebody who does an MDev in public space design, I think one of the key directions in which your career does sort of go forward, because it is a research-based course. The coursework that you do in your studios and workshops acts as sort of a set of tools, frameworks for developing your own interests and your research ideas. So what the course allows you to do is, while you're sort of operating in that larger universe of public space, it allows you to sort of really develop expertise in that area that you want to develop your career in. So you go out with a very, or you can, sort of end up with a very specialized, deep knowledge of a particular area, and it can then allow you to sort of leap into an aspect of practice, that you want to. Our students tend to have very diverse interests. So what they tend to do after they pass out is also fairly diverse, and that emerges from the focus they choose to take on in the research component of the.
I've looked into some of your classes and they're very intense. You pour a lot of yourself into what you do. What does VV, the person, bring to what VV does at SMI?
So what, in terms of my own sort of what I bring to the, I think, the studios and the workshops and the other units I facilitate, is largely, I think, a great deal of real world experience. Before coming to Srishti, which was around 3 years ago, prior to that, I have over a decade and a half of working on projects across India. And a lot of these projects were projects that sort of played a key role in sort of creating the nature of, the way the work is practiced today. And it allowed me to sort of see the practice sort of emerge across a range of situations, not just in terms of design, but also in terms of engaging with the system and engaging with various stakeholders. So I think that's what I bring into the studio, that connection with practice.
Last question. I've been asking everybody that a story, an anecdote, something you can relate that makes you excited about what you do at SMI.
It's not exactly a story or an anecdote, but I think it's I think something that I encounter pretty much a lot in terms of when I'm running any unit, which is at that some point in time, when you've sort of given your inputs and gotten, say, worked with students or aspiring practitioners to get to a particular place, they start taking charge of their own work and it starts moving forward in very interesting directions. And I think when that happens, it's gratifying in the sense that you suddenly see that a whole new way of things, and that also becomes a way for us to learn as facilitators of a unit. So it becomes a two-way process. So that's actually the most exciting part for me when that happens, when I'm sort of facilitating a unit.
Vishwesh, thank you so much for dropping.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.